Welcome to Loathsome Things, you darn tootin', rattle-scootin' I don't know what I'm doing.
Wow.
Yeah, welcome to Loathsome Things, a horror movie podcast, where two idiots talk about horror movies. Some good, some bad, and then just some.
Some that just kind of peter out there at the end.
Yeah. Well, that was okay. Yeah. Well, thanks for listening. Sorry, y'all have to.
Yeah.
My name is John, and with me as always is my co-host Josh. Josh, how are you doing, sir?
Man, I am doing great, but I was entirely incapable of anticipating any of the things that you were doing in the intro. Like, I was like, oh, okay, we're doing like a roller coaster. Oh, now it's a varminty cowboy. And then you just brought the clothes out into the beginning. I like it. I don't know what to expect, but I'm down.
I don't know. There was no plan there except to wing it.
It was good. I think we should get nominated for something.
Oh man, we're gonna win a potty.
Oh yeah,
or whatever they're called.
They need to create a new Bram Stoker's award for us.
Stroker Ace.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah. Oh,
music to make love to your old lady by.
Oh, it's time to get down. Whoa. So what movie? Since that's what we do, right? We talk about horror movies. What horror movies? Okay. Yeah. What horror movie are we talking about this week, Josh?
Well, John, I'm glad you asked.
Okay.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to say.
Yeah.
It is none other than Sean King O'Grady's 2021, how do you say, we need to do something?
Maybe we need to do something. I don't know.
Yeah. About a family of four-ish in a bathroom with the sound of tinkling.
Correct. This movie is based on a novella from an author out of San Antonio named Max Booth III.
Nice.
He is also the owner of just last year, I think it was, he opened a horror bookstore in San Antonio called Ghoulish Books. And he also has his own horror, like, I guess it's like a film festival or just a horror festival that he does in San Antonio every year called Ghoulish Fest or something. I forget what the name is. And so he's pretty prominent in the horror world, but he's a younger guy. And he writes these really kind of darkly humorous, fucked up stories about really messed up families. And this falls right in line with that. So, as I had mentioned in the last episode, a more prominent author, Josh Malaman, the guy who wrote Bird Box, got involved and, basically helped get this whole project greenlighted and stuff like that. It's obviously got like no budget. It was shot during the pandemic. Everybody had to isolate until they were sure that they didn't all have the disease. And then, it was a little production, but pretty effective little movie. And I think it'll be fun to talk about. It's got the only name, I guess, that anybody would probably know is Pat Healy, who plays the dad. And I'm trying to remember the movie he's in. There's a really dark kind of crime thriller like a satirical crime thriller that he's in that is fucking amazing. But he's one of those guys that kind of pops up in everything. He's a genre guy. He's a good actor. He's entertaining. He's a complete fucking asshole in this movie, though. Jesus.
Oh man, yeah.
These people are terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad that you gave the extra context about this author's work, because this movie's kind of hard to wrap your head around exactly all, like, some of the nuances of what's going on. And so I just was really struggling with that part of it, but getting that angle on it really helps me out. One thing I have to note about Pat Healy, he was in one episode of Star Trek Enterprise.
Oh,
so
wow.
anytime I see a Star Trek, I have to point it out.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I think he's been working for a while, and he's starting to look older, but he still has that kind of face where he like looks like he could be younger than he actually is, kind of face.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. I didn't really write a summary just because it was, I've seen it enough times where I'm just going to give a real quick rundown on it.
Nice.
And so basically we're talking about a family that lives in a suburban neighborhood. There's a horrible storm coming in, and they basically, there's like tornado sirens going off. So they all hide in the bathroom, which apparently is protected by 6-foot walls.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck?
What is this bathroom?
It's an incredible bunker bathroom with a single flimsy door outside blocked by a tree. So this horrible storm comes through. The little son thinks it's going to be like this massive tornado. Whatever it is, this tree gets blown and they're now blocked inside here. You learn very quickly how dysfunctional this family is. And we also learn that the teenage daughter is desperately trying to get a hold of someone, which we find out is her gothy cutter girlfriend. And as we learn throughout the course of the movie, the two of them were having a romantic moment outdoors, and the goth girl's stalker boy was filming them on his cell phone, so they basically do a hex on him. And everything basically goes haywire, and he ends up dying. And then they basically end up summoning an evil force that was dormant inside the goth girl, who thought she had a "I believe I am dead" disease. It's very strange. It's fine. It's a plot device.
I'm sure it makes sense in the novella.
It does. So the apocalypse gets ushered in, basically, and we see it all transpire in a bathroom with a horrible family. The husband is an absolute douchebag. The wife is cheating on the husband, which I can't say I blame her. She seems like she's a decent person. The teenage daughter is a teenage daughter. And the son is someone who you just pray is going to, I don't know, be killed by a snake. Let's just say. They're visited in their little hideaway by a cute little dog that the boy sees. And the dog turns out to be some sort of demon beast. We never see it. Well, we see its tongue, which the girl rips out. It does have one line, which was voiced by Ozzy Osbourne.
Yes.
Which is amazing. And,
I'm a good boy.
That's right. I'm a good boy. And then they immediately decide that they need to eat the tongue, the daughter does, which coincides with them eating a rotten dog's tongue that they used in their hex on the stalker guy that they killed-ish. Maybe. So they all eat this disgusting tongue. And,
that's still moving.
Still moving. It's like crawling across the sink. And then the father gets sick and blah, blah, blah. They see a snake. The snake gets in, and then he gets it out, and then somehow the snake magically gets back in, ends up biting the boy who dies, and now everything's just basically falling apart. The father is bleeding from the eyes and going completely apeshit, starts trying to kill the wife, and the daughter stabs him to death with a cell phone knife. I don't know what she had in her hand.
It was a shard of broken mirror wrapped in shirt cloth.
Okay, it looked like she was holding her cell phone in the same hand. So I'm like, what is she? Okay, so she stabs her dad to death in a very squirty death, which was awesome. And then the mother starts chipping away at this brick by the door, basically makes a hole big enough to get out, goes out, something horrible happens to her out there. She comes back in and sits down next to the daughter. She's now covered in blood and completely, like, deliriously out of her mind, and just keeps saying, what is it? It's going to be okay. We're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. And then the camera shifts and we hear boom, and the two ladies start screaming, and the movie's over. So there's some Lovecraftian business in there that,
Yeah.
the daughter has a dream that she's attacked by her friend's frienticles. I don't know. There's some weird shit going on in there. But,
I liked that dream sequence because then she like is ripping open her stomach and her parents are like drinking the blood fountaining out of her belly. I was like, oh, that is nice.
Yeah, this movie, I mean, it's pretty much crazy from the start, but it really gets nuts near the end. But it does so in a very kind of, like, it's not scary or disturbing. It's just kind of funny, I guess, but really cool looking. I mean, they spent the little money that they had very wisely. I mean, the effects that they had were great, and anything else that there was no fucking way they could afford, they did it off screen, and the sound design was good enough, and the acting was good enough to carry the idea. If you're gonna, dream big and have no money, that's one way to do it.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, so there are gore effects in here that they don't look great. Like you could be like, oh yeah, that's a wad of yarn, and you made it look like a snake that had its head bit off. But it's also still like enjoyable. Like it doesn't look real, but it's like, oh yeah, that's fun. I like that.
It's like the whale in Dark Sea or whatever.
Exactly, yeah. And the tongue is the same thing. Like, it looks gross, but not real, and it's definitely much more, like, dry, fibrous material than it should be. But, like, it's neat. It wobbles around, and, good stuff.
Yeah, it's schlocky enough to fit in this, what ultimately is a fucked up family story. And then, of course, there's all the interpretation online, is this all in her head? Is it all this or that? It doesn't fucking matter. It's not that kind of movie to even care. You just kind of watch it and let it be sick.
Yeah.
And try to enjoy it. The first time I watched it, I thought it was okay. But with each successive watch, I like this movie more. But anyways, what were you going to say?
Oh, no, yeah. It's basically that. It's like, I think there is a threshold, though. If you watch this movie enough times where, like, you're starting to pick apart the things that don't make sense, or, like, to get to those theories, it starts to get weird and interesting, but also, like, I don't know. There is definitely a like, high point of rewatchability at which point it diminishes, but, like you were talking about with the interpretations, like, and you mentioned with the tongue, so they rip out a dead dog's tongue as part of the spell to do a bad thing to the stalker boy, and then later in the movie, she ends up pulling a dog's tongue, a demon, not dog, but a demon probably's tongue out of its mouth through the door that she can't see, and it looks the same, and so there's like a hint of the evil that's in the bathroom with them is what they brought in with them? I don't know.
I'm sure
there's also a snake, and it doesn't make sense.
I'm sure that's absolutely what that's supposed to be. The snake, I don't understand what the snake is, just a manifestation. Another one, I mean, whatever's out there killing the dudes with machine guns. There's some sort of giant Lovecraftian creature that you never see that's out there. I mean, it's kind of messy, but, it is messy, but at the same time, it doesn't really matter. It's not.
Yeah.
It's a little movie that has some big crazy in it that, remains a little movie even when it gets crazy, which is, kind of cool. I mean, it was, when I first saw it, I was kind of like, yeah, I mean, it was all right. It didn't, like, blow me away or anything. And I thought, I had read a review that was really glowing. And the guy really talked a lot about how they made it during, COVID, which I thought was cool. I always think it's cool when, like the whole world is falling apart, but these creative people, they just feel like they need to keep working, for their own sanity. And so they make weird shit like In the Earth or We Need to Do Something. Yeah. And, I mean, kudos to them because, I mean, the whole rest of the fucking world was too busy shitting its pants at home. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's entirely enjoyable, and it has some like truly surprising and like delightful moments, like when the dad bites off the snake's head and then uses the body of the snake to whip the mother out of sheer torturous anger. I'm like, where did we just go?
Yeah, it's very
This is
dark.
wild.
And if you read anything from Max Booth, I mean his work is extremely dark and very cynical, very sardonic, and he's like that online too. His social media stuff is that way too. He posted some guy sent him a manuscript, and it was unsolicited, which is fine. But he also runs a publishing company, Ghoulish Books, so he's a busy boy.
Nice.
So Ghoulish Books, I don't think they take unsolicited manuscripts. They just ignore them. So he apparently had read it or looked at it anyway and contacted the guy and said, thanks for sending your manuscript, but that's, we're going to go in a different direction or something. I mean, he was polite. It was a typical form rejection letter. And the guy responded and was like a total asshole about it. It was just like, fuck you, man. I put my heart and soul into that, and like all this stuff. And he's like, dude, your story sucks. That's why I didn't, it's like, I mean, he just was like, he's just one of those guys where he's like, all right, you're going to push, I'll push back. He doesn't, it was hilarious. And he's like this crazy looking dude with like yellow hair, like dyed bright yellow. And,
nice.
he's just a character. So I love the idea that of all the authors in the horror world that get buzz and stuff like that, this guy gets a movie, like a full-on movie made out of his novella, which brings up this weird thought that I had, which is like, only in Hollywood can you make a 90-minute movie from a novella, whereas like nobody writes a novella based on a 90-minute movie. It's like, let's take this. I just thought like the dichotomy there was like, let's take this really short story and make a full-length movie out of it. And that's part of why, arguably I think this movie suffers, is because it's not meant to be a long-form thing. I mean, they hired good actors, and that's a saving grace, because if they had, if it was one of those movies where you hired all your friends and stuff, it'd probably be pretty bad.
Ooh, yeah. Because
the whole movie relies on the performances, and these people are really good at, making you think they actually know each other when, they don't. They're just working together,
Oh, yeah. I never, it was always believable that they were actually a dysfunctional family.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, they probably spent several weeks in the company of just each other and a few crew members. Yep. So they probably got to know each other pretty quickly. And so that feeling of being cooped up in that bathroom probably wasn't that hard for them to portray, since they were probably more or less cooped up in some suburban house somewhere.
Yeah.
So that worked, and ultimately it's movies like this that make the horror subgenre so much more interesting. And I don't know anything about Booth's background, but I would venture to guess that he probably didn't come from a perfectly balanced family. If you read any of his books, it's just like, I mean, like, even I'm a pretty dark dude, and sometimes, I'll read stuff, and his books are those kind of stuff where it's like, oh, okay, yeah, wow, oh, Jesus, okay, all right,
yeah.
Oh, wow, we're going there? Oh, let's go, come on. It's like, God damn, dude, his stuff is dark. It's like,
apparently, he makes an appearance in this movie as a human toilet.
Really?
Yeah, that's one of the little trivia bits in there that he said, is that at one point Pat Healy sits on a toilet, and that toilet is him disguised as a toilet.
What?
Yeah.
I don't even understand what that means.
They made him up to look like a toilet, had him squat down in costume as a toilet, and then Pat Healy sits on him for a second.
Oh my God, that's amazing and so weird. That's fucking awesome. That makes no sense at all. This guy's a nut. If you ever get a chance, if you're curious, you should check him out. He's on some there's, he's on a bunch of different horror podcasts where they interview horror authors, and he's got some sort of a speech impediment. It's like but it's pretty severe, and so it's difficult.
Why don't you imitate it, but with an Italian accent?
So Max, I'm totally going for it. No, I won't do it. It's too cruel.
Thank you.
Yeah, no. So he's difficult to understand when he's being interviewed, and he's got kind of an unusual appearance too. But he's smart as a whip and very well spoken. But you really kind of have to like actively listen to him, because you can't just be like, yeah, okay, no, go ahead, I'll listen. It just doesn't work. And then he says stuff that is really fucked up and dark, and you're like, wait, did he just say that? Yeah, he did. Is that a joke? That's got to be a joke. Like, he's one of those guys. It's awesome.
Nice. I'm gonna have to seek some of this out because he sounds really cool.
He is.
I'm probably actually gonna have to read one of his books, because like, so this movie isn't great,
no.
But the underlying story, the stuff that's there is like really interesting, and I do want to like dig in and know a little bit more. So I'm probably gonna have to go read this novella, because like I do want to do something.
He's an easy read. He's not, as smart as he is. He also is, I don't know what the word would be, but he's the type of writer that writes readable stuff. He doesn't try to be overtly literary or any of that kind of crap. He just, he wants to get that story across, and he does. So,
He writes approachable prose, you're saying.
Whoa. Yes.
Good. Very good.
Did you have any lofty thoughts while you're... I'm trying to think if I had any lofty thoughts.
Lofty thoughts. Okay, so this movie fits, like, it could be in the same universe as This Is the End, the Seth Rogen and company apocalypse movie, especially at the end where she like goes outside and comes back covered in blood and is disturbed. That felt like a very This Is the End kind of scene happening.
Yeah.
And so this is just like another dark corner of that cinematic universe. So I liked that. It also reminded me a lot of another Locked in the House movie called Await Further Instructions.
Oh, I don't think I know that one.
It's about, I think it's some kind of British. I don't know if it's like English, Scottish, or Irish, but it's one of those, generally over there.
Northern Irish.
And it's... Oh, well, come on. Certainly not Welsh. I have no idea.
Oh.
But it's this family, and they're locked in the house, and there's a seal, a weird seal around the outside of the house. So, like, outside, like, you open the windows, and there's just, like, black stuff on the outside. And they're getting these transmissions through the television telling them, like, giving them messages on how to survive the thing. And then sometimes the messages are, like, instructions for things that they need to do to themselves or one another. It's pretty good.
I think I saw that movie.
Yeah.
Don't military type guys come around and make sure you don't leave the house or something like that? Is that not in that one?
No, not this one. In
Maybe
this one,
another.
you end up with like coaxial tentacles at the end.
Ooh, that sounds
yes.
Yeah. Oh, is that the one where they're at home during Christmas?
Yeah,
and it's kind of bluish looking all the time. That movie is awesome.
And there's like a mean old grandpa, and like
it gets all Tetsuo Iron Man-y at the end. It's fucking amazing.
Hell yes, yeah. So this I was like getting some similar vibes from it. Of course, this is like its own thing. It's not like derivative or anything like that.
Not of that. No.
But yeah.
But yeah, I mean it is a little subgenre. The kind of cooped up at home in a terrible situation, and then things get worse from there. I mean, that's kind of a subgenre.
Yeah, absolutely. The little isolation chamber of apocalypse. It's great.
It is a little nerve wracking, I guess, if you well, I mean, I did come from a fucked up family situation, but if you came up,
there you go.
If you came from one that was similar to that, their dynamic, then it might be kind of a little rough to watch, I suppose. But it's tongue in cheek. I mean, it's again, the humor may not again, since I never said this, but the humor may not appeal to certain people. That kind of humor. A lot of people don't like dark humor because they're fucking morons. But so.
You mean not everyone will think a husband biting the head off of a snake and then doing spousal abuse to his wife with the snake as a whip? They won't think that's funny?
The only thing a dick is good for is peeing.
Oh, God. I was so glad that little boy died of snake bite.
There were some cool moments. The best moments with that family were those rare moments of slight levity. And then you realize how much tension they're really building. Like, you kind of don't take this movie very seriously, but then, like, when that kid makes that well, it's not a crack, he's being serious, but everybody laughs just kind of, like, just for a second, they're like, because they're all so stressed out. And it's such a relief to hear them laugh and act like normal people for just a second, especially the dad.
Yeah.
That dude is cranked.
Oh, man, yeah. And I will say, like, he did the performance away, but honestly, at times his performance got, like, so hammy that it took me out of it a little.
That's true.
But I think it was supposed to, because part of it is also, like, they're suffering the miseries of what they took in with them. I think this is also, like, a little hell of their own making.
Yeah.
And so they're not supposed to be acting normal. They're they're in hell. That's not normal family times, but yeah, it's interesting. One of those moments, like you were talking about, that I liked is near the beginning, and they talk about, like, wait, what tree? And then she's like, the one that we buried Spot under, and the kid is like, what? Spot's dead? And there's just this one little moment where the mom is like, ugh, not now.
Yeah. It's like, fuck you, kid, we're not talking about that.
Like, Jesus Christ, not the timing, come on.
I mean, I think when you were talking about the dad, I was thinking about, like, Pat Healy is not a physically intimidating looking man.
No.
And I don't know if they intentionally picked him, or, I mean, sometimes I know actors know someone who knows someone, and they're like, what about Pat Healy? Oh, actually, he would be,
Yeah.
or I don't know if they actually, did auditions, or if they sought him out specifically, but his whole thing for me is as cranked up and as angry and as much of a piece of shit as he is. He's not a particularly threatening person, his character, but at the same time, he's still a man and is capable of doing a lot of harm to anyone in the family if he wants to, and so that's of course why it's so great to see him get stabbed into, like, pulp. Just blood fountains.
Yeah, just turning his whole back into just, like, the worst squeezy pad of nonsense. It was great.
Yeah, you can tell a lot about an actor by the direction their feet point when they play dead. He chose to put his toes inward in that I don't know why. I always notice that kind of shit for some reason. I don't know. I'm like, different actors to try to look different ways, and that was like a I'm not a tough guy pose, because my toes are turned in.
Yeah, he went pigeon toe for it. It was good.
I may read too much into some things.
It's fine. I love that he's like sucking on all of the alcohol swabs in the whole bathroom, just trying to get drunk. He drinks the whole thing of mouthwash. He just sucks on all the alcohol.
He's just like,
oh, so good. He's just popping them in one after the other.
It's disgusting. When his eyes are bleeding, I was like, okay, this is great. This is so good. I didn't know if it was because the snake bit him or if he was having some sort of, Jesus wept moment or what the hell was going on, but it was amazing.
Oh man, when the snake bites his face, that was pure acting goodness, because he manages to achieve this point between screaming because he's in pain and a snake has bit his face, and laughter. And so he's just like at this weird in-between point as he's pulling snake fangs out of his face. It's amazing.
It is really good. It's really awesome. He did a good job.
Yeah. This movie's also really good for the people that like to watch zombie movies and think about how they would have done it better, because they are very bad at trying to escape this bathroom.
Yeah, they are remarkably terrible. I mean, okay, if you have a 6-foot wall, whatever the fuck is going on there, that's probably not going to be your exit. But when you have a door, okay, it's blocked by a tree, but it's not a wall of tree. It's just blocked. Like, I'm sure in some way they could have ripped the sink out and bashed through the door or something. I mean,
he said it's a solid oak door, which, why do you have a solid oak door to your bathroom?
And why does your bathroom have a door outside? What the fuck is that? Is it an outhouse?
No, that's the bedroom on the other side.
Okay.
The tree crashed down into it.
Okay, that's what I didn't... When they say that the tree destroyed their house, they mean the tree fucking annihilated everything but the bunker bathroom.
Yes, yeah. It fell right through the mid.
They see people walking by on the street with machine guns and Demonzilla and whatever the fuck is the dog that gets in... Aussie dogs born.
Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, she eventually gets through. Like, they have the sink. The walls are covered in tiles. There's the mirror that eventually breaks. They have, like, the shower, the curtain rod and all. Like, they have tools at their disposal that they just do not use until half of the family is dead, and then the mom is like, oh, I'll just go through the wall.
I mean, they have I forget what I read how it was described, bistro glass or whatever. It's like those semi-opaque square glass brick window. I'm sure they probably could have gotten through that.
Yeah, or even just chisel away at the mortar like she does. Like, she gets through bricks by you use time on your side and a longevity of effort, and they just like wasted the whole beginning of it until it doesn't make sense.
No, and from the looks of it, this was a house that was made in maybe the 70s. They weren't making homes in the 70s to protect you from a nuclear bomb. I mean, it was it's just a house.
Well,
so
maybe.
Why? Maybe. I mean, why they look like they're in some sort of standard any American subdivision, but it's impossible to get out of this bathroom. It's not happening.
Yeah.
Even though there's a side door that no one ever tries to open. Isn't there like a side door if you're facing out the door? Isn't there a door to the left?
I think that might be like the
a
linen closet or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Or maybe water closet. Like they, but no, because he turns around and looks at her whenever she's on the toilet.
Yeah, that's
great. It's a great movie.
It's where they store their water.
Yeah. Yeah, your extra water.
Water closet.
That's where your winter water goes to get that closet smell.
Everybody dies in this movie. That's the good part.
Yeah.
Well, presumably. I assume the mother and the daughter get killed. We don't actually see that happen, but
yeah, every penis haver dies.
Oh yeah.
So with the gothic cutter witch girlfriend. So she thinks she has a condition like a disease where you feel like you're dead.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's treated for that, but then she also does a necromancy spell on herself. And then after doing this thing, the spell is supposed to make it anything that he says about them will come back on himself.
Mm-hmm.
But then, and part of that is a tongue, and they were supposed to use a cow's tongue, but they used Spot's tongue, which was enormous for a dog.
Impressive.
Like, yeah. And then they, apparently that kid accidentally swallows his own tongue to death.
Yeah.
And then the gothic cutter witch girlfriend says, what if I wasn't dead inside, but there was something inside of me, and when I did the necromancy spell, that woke it up, and then when I did this other spell, it was able to hitchhike on that and do stuff. So, why are we following this family?
Yeah.
It seems like the action is going on somewhere else.
It's a strange way to explain what's happening. I mean, it's so far removed from the reality in that bathroom.
Yeah.
Plus, I mean, there's so much of that just makes no fucking sense at all. I mean,
yeah.
The whole, like, I don't know. I don't even know where to begin with it. You were talking about something, and it jogged my memory about something, but there's a million different somethings that made no sense when you start to look at that part of the movie. I mean, I don't know, man. This movie's weird.
Yeah, it is weird. I guess. So all of them are like bringing their troubles in with them, and so I guess the daughter needed to have her own trouble to bring in with her, and so whether or not that's even the cause of it, it could just be, like she's a delusional teenager. But I don't know. It's just all very strange. A lot of it doesn't make sense. It's enjoyable, but that's what I was talking about with there being like a enjoyability horizon on rewatches. Like, you watch it the first time, you're like, oh, okay, yeah. You watch it a second time and you pick up on the little things, and you're like, oh, yeah, that's neat. And then like 3, 4, 5, then you're like, there's just too much to pick apart here. Like, so you just have to let that go, and then you can really enjoy the movie. And you also have to not listen to the mom's shitty speech that she gives when the kid is dying, because oh my god.
There are entire chunks of this movie that I've completely just tuned out because I just don't care. And like the whole Dawson's Creek love affair bit is such a just flimsy plot device that I'm just like, all right, let's get back. Okay, we're back in the bathroom. Okay, good.
Oh, man. She's like, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to stare. Maybe I wanted you to stare. I'm like,
I love you. Shut up. I'm doing something. I love you too.
Yeah. It's like, no, what are we doing?
When she starts doing her incantation, I just would. It would have been so great if the other girl was like, oh, fuck this, and just got up and walked away.
Yeah. What are you, tying it with twine and leaves? Get out of here.
I know what it was. I don't know how I forgot this, because this is fucking good.
Oh, yeah.
So, they couldn't get a cow's tongue, so they dug up her dead dog and tore his tongue out, his desiccated tongue. What do you mean they couldn't get a cow's tongue? Just go to a fucking grocery store. You don't have to
any grocery store.
Go to a grocery store, ask the butcher if you can get a cow's tongue, so that you don't have to dig up your dead fucking rotten dog out of the backyard by the tree that's going to block you in the bathroom that makes everyone die.
Yeah. Maybe if you hadn't dug up the dead dog, the tree wouldn't fall over.
God, man.
But it's seriously, it's you any grocery store. You don't even have to go to a specialty. Like, you can get that at fucking Kroger.
Just like, well, the spell called for a bag of macaroni, but I'm going to go ahead and buy us 2 tickets to Italy, and we're going to learn how to make macaroni in a cooking school so that we can do the. It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Whoa.
Just buy a bag of macaroni.
Yeah, it's like we couldn't afford a cow's tongue. It's $3.99 a pound.
We're gonna need all our money for the future we don't have.
Yeah, we're going to need that to buy fresh bay leaves to wrap around the tongue.
I also love how entitled teenage girls in America are that they can do some stupid cockamamie spell and somehow summon the apocalypse.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, is this not every teenage girl in the entire country? Let me look at my Ouija board.
I like how the dad, too, he was like, yeah, we did a spell we found on the internet. And the dad was like, the internet?
He's like, I'm sorry, are you out of your fucking mind?
But then he actually, like, blames, like, he's like, you know what? I accept your explanation. Heretofore after, you are blamed for the death of your brother.
A talking dog will make you do weird shit.
Yeah.
A talking dog that climbs over the house and makes the whole thing rattle.
Yeah, and has a like an immortal tongue. And they, oh my god, the fact that they're looking at that wiggling tongue and they're like, well, we have to eat it.
It made no sense. And then the dad later says, well, I guess we have to eat our son now.
Yeah, the son who died from venom, so there's just venom all throughout that meat, and has been rotting ever since. Let's eat that.
That boy is envenomed.
Oh, man. Gross. The worst possible meat choice.
I hope I never get invited to their house for dinner.
Oh, man. But let's get serious for a minute. Falling trees crashing into houses is a major concern.
It is.
So just don't live in Houston. Because that shit happens.
That shit happens to several people I know.
Yeah, several people all on the same day just hanging out in their house and then crushed.
I know a guy that was almost killed in the derecho. A tree came through his roof and landed on his desk, which he had been working on earlier in the day, apparently, or something.
Holy crap.
It's like, Jesus Christ, dude, you almost got killed by a tree.
Yeah. We really need to be building attics stronger around here.
What are you thinking about the roof? I'm thinking balsa wood. Are you guys down for that?
Yeah. Nice.
Tongue depressors.
Oh, yeah. That brings us back to this movie. What a tongue depressor.
Oh. Jesus Christ. Way to bring it back.
Woo! Circled back around.
Reeled it in. Oh.
Anything else we need to hit on this movie, John, before we talk about other things and other stuff and other guys?
It's on Hulu. If you've got Hulu, you can watch it there.
Yeah. But if you have the new thing where it's Disney Plus with Hulu attached, but it's just like Hulu as a sidecar to your Disney Plus, they don't have it on there, and that pissed me off, because that's the one I have because I'm a cheapskate, and it's like $4 cheaper.
They didn't have it?
They didn't have it.
What the fuck is that about?
I don't know. It's Disney Plus with Hulu, but this one wasn't in their catalog. Motherfuckers.
We have the ad-supported Netflix thing, which is... I didn't really have any complaints because the ads on Netflix are very short. It's like 30 seconds and then, maybe another ad break in an entire movie. It's kind of like, well, that's not that bad. But then they released something on there. I forget what it was. It was some movie that I wanted to see. And I was like, oh, cool. And then it says, your subscription does not, because of licensing rights or something like that. I'm like, licensing? You have the movie on your service. So, whatever. You couldn't watch it in the ad-supported tier. So.
Oh, fuckers. I hate that shit.
Yeah, I love how, we grew up with TV, and commercials, and then cable came along, and that was one of the great things about cable was, the only ads of any kind were for that particular service between shows, And now and it got to this point where you could curate and just in the last 10 years or so, you could curate your own entertainment experience and never see a single fucking commercial if you didn't want to.
Yeah.
Now, they all have got commercials in them now. So now you're paying for these services, and you're basically paying for fucking commercials. It's pretty intense.
I hate that a lot, especially like Prime. Prime was you're paying a subscription so you don't get commercials. Well, now you're paying for a subscription and getting commercials, and you don't have a say. They just added it in. You didn't choose a tier. It's just now on the tier that you were already at.
Yeah, and if you'd like to spend, $10 more or whatever, you can get this. Like, fuck you. I'm not doing that. You're already getting what is it? I don't know, $20 a month or whatever the fuck it comes out to. God damn it. I'm cheap,
fuck those guys.
Poor. Yeah, fuck them.
Yeah. I will pay extra for the non-commercial version, but only of Hulu. Hulu's the only thing that I keep because it has all of the things I watch on it, and then I will dip into Prime or dip into Netflix or things like that. But yeah, this alternative Hulu thing where it's through Disney Plus, fuck that. It was a mistake, and I'm gonna have to go in and cancel that subscription and start another one the other way.
That's weird because as far as I know, that movie was, I don't know if it even was in theater, excuse me, but I think the only streaming service it's on is Hulu. So why would you deny the viewers the ability to watch a movie that I would have to think, considering how small it was, had to be at least a limited success for them, because it still shows up when you're flipping through the movies pretty soon. They haven't buried it too deep yet, so somebody's watching it.
Yeah, that red background with the eyeliner, it's like, ooh, what's this?
Yeah, the cover is really cool.
Yeah.
Probably better than the movie. Whoops. Hey-o.
Uh-oh. But the novella, top-notch, probably.
The novella is really good. Yeah, I would definitely recommend reading it. It's a novella, so it takes 2 hours?
Your mom.
Whoa.
Whoa. So what else, John, have you been watching that isn't this, or otherwise consuming if it's not something that you're watching, or just things that you're interested in talking about, or none of those things?
Oh, shit, there's so many options. I've shifted my sleep schedule around, so it's allowed me to watch horror movies because my wife doesn't like to watch them. And so she's been going to bed before I have. So I've been staying,
nice.
I'll take a, several hour nap, and then I'm up, for several hours by myself at night. So I'm going to run through these real quick because I've seen about 15 of them.
Oh, hell yes.
Hellhole.
Oh, yeah.
Which was highly recommended. Quiet Place 1, which I really enjoyed, oddly enough.
Oh, surprises.
Yeah. The Poughkeepsie Tapes, which is fucking terrible. It is unbelievably horrible, and everyone who wrote those reviews on Google saying how great it is are morons. The Descent 1 and 2.
Fuck yes. Oh my god.
Genius. 2, very good.
Yeah.
The Cave, not as good as Descent.
Is that the one where it's the Mayan temple?
No, it's these guys that go into... They're like cave explorers in Eastern Europe, but they're like this macho crack team of douchey dudes, plus Lena Headey or whatever her name is, who's the hot one or whatever.
Nice!
That movie is ridiculous. Apparently, it was in production at the same time that The Descent was being made, and so they decided to release The Descent early, because they didn't want, because this one was a big budget one, apparently. But then, as it turned out, The Cave is a piece of shit, so it wasn't really that big of a deal. But I was like...
The Descent was amazing.
Yeah, it's great. The Descent is up there among we're going to be doing The Descent at some point, for sure.
Hell yeah.
And we probably won't be doing The Cave. Anyways, I watched a movie that was getting a bunch of buzz on Netflix called The Deliverance. A black possession family. Glenn Close is a white mother of the...
Where could you go wrong with that?
It was not great. I know it's hard to believe, but it was kind of like, what's that guy's name that makes all the Medea movies?
Tyler Perry?
It was like Tyler Perry meets David Gordon Green's version of The Exorcist.
Ooh, I would watch that, though.
It's so bad. I mean, I kind of liked the family dynamic because the lady that plays the mom is really good. And Glenn Close is great, but it's to say it's camp is putting it mildly.
Oh my god, the Medea cyst? Oh, that would be so good.
That's what it is.
Medea shows up to do an exorcism. I would watch that.
Step aside, girl. I saw this pretty shitty Russian supernatural film called The Widow, which was a bunch of people
with
in the woods, and
she has like a spiky back on the cover or something.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah,
it's terrible. Sleepaway Camp.
Russia. Oh, the original?
Yes.
Oh, so good.
I'd never seen it.
Oh, really? So you'd never seen like the bowl of the big pot of soup and
no.
Oh, that ending. That ending is so good.
It's so good. It's an unbelievably terrible movie that manages to just be fantastic by the end.
Oh man. And way problematic. Like,
oh my God.
Oh man, what a problem. But what an amazing problem.
From opening sequence to closing scene, very problematic.
I mean, I know we're supposed to be staring at that penis, but look at that face.
I love that she still makes that face for people at like horror cons and stuff.
Yes!
Man, that's fantastic. So that movie, then I watched Storm of the Century.
What?
The adaptation, the TV series adaptation of Stephen King's book. With Tim Daly. Yes. And
nice.
It was fun-rable.
Oh, yeah.
And finally, I'm in the process, I'm just about to wrap up, I believe, season 1 of From, which is fucking amazing. It's a horror series on Prime has it. It's a group of, it's like a colony sort of people that are stuck in this little town. They can't leave.
Oh yeah.
Every time they try to leave, they just end up back in the town. And at night, they have to lock themselves indoors because these weird creatures that are like shape-shifting, like the Watchers, which I also watched,
hey,
come out and try to convince the people like, hey, it's your grandmother. I miss you so much. Okay, I'll open the window. And then they don't just kill the people. How would I describe this? They disassemble them. I mean, they like,
ooh. It
is like carnage when they come in and find people like laying on the ground and the rib cage is wide open and they're completely eviscerated.
Oh, yeah.
And there's blood and guts everywhere. It's so good. That show is fucked up. And
I'm gonna watch that. I've seen it. It's been Amazon has been pushing it on me, and so anytime they push something on me, I'm like, no, fuck you. But yeah, I'm gonna have to watch that.
In this case, they're pushing it because it's so good.
Nice.
And season 3 is about to come out this month, so they're really hyping it right now. This guy at work was like, "That guy, we gotta watch it." So I finally just was like, "All right, I'll check it out."
New workplace, same old colleagues.
My friend.
Got a lot?
Oh my God. This is basically, we're making a podcast for Kurt.
Yeah. We're just pitching the Kerber gland.
Oh my God. Forgot about that.
Yeah.
I'm dying. It's over.
You were watching something else last week. You were watching the fucking new Mike Flanagan show. Did you end up finishing it?
Fall of the House of Usher?
Yeah.
I finished it. It was great. I loved it.
Yeah.
Man, he's like my hero now. I'm like Johnny Mike Flanagan. I mean, even the fucking Ouija sequel was good. I was like, dude, how did you make a piece of shit good? He just Flanaganed it, I guess. I don't know.
He out there Flanaganning around.
He just Flanaganized the whole damn thing.
Oh man, he's like the American Horror Story guy if that guy was good at what he did.
No shit. It's like American Horror Story minus the drag queen camp plus a good show.
Fantastic.
I can't wait to see what he does with The Exorcist, man. That's going to be awesome.
Oh, man.
He's apparently pretty excited about it, which is a good sign.
I love that he's getting to do stuff that he's a fan of. Like,
Dark Tower.
Usually, yeah, exactly. Like, if that ever happens. Like,
apparently it's happening.
We'll see. Oh, really? Like, yeah. I keep hearing that it's like, oh yeah, we're thinking about it. We're trying, but it doesn't sound like it's like filming.
Apparently, I don't know if they're filming yet, but it's definitely been greenlighted, and he basically wanted to knock out this Exorcist thing first. So, just shit out an Exorcist film, and then go ahead and make the Dark Tower.
Yeah, just go ahead and jizz out an Exorcist thing, then you can get to the Dark Tower.
Yeah, just to do a little jizzercism.
Whoa.
The power of Christ.
An exorcism!
Exorcism.
Like, how far around it we went before we got to it. Jizzercism.
I'm so close.
You were right there.
I had it right on the tip of my tongue. Jizzercism.
Oh, you brought it back around to this movie, too.
Jizzercism.
Oh, man.
Oh,
okay.
Bring it down.
All right.
How about you, sir? What have you consumed media-wise?
Two red-in-the-face idiots talk about a movie that they think is fun.
Two idiots laugh for 40 minutes because of a pun.
They made their own jokes.
Jizzercism.
It's not for you, listener. It's just for us and Kurt. This fortnight, I learned about a Korean thriller TV series, or mini-series, as it were. I'd, heard people talk about them, and I'd never really dove in, but, there was an anime a few years ago called Parasite, and then I saw that there was a live-action adaptation of it, so I watched that. It was okay. It was kind of, fun by way of crappy, but not totally crappy, but it was whatever. But that then got me into the realm of Korean thrillers, and I watched one called My Name, and I am not a gangster movie person. That is not my bag, and this was very much like the Korean mafia and infiltrating the police and stuff like that, but it was fucking amazing. I watched that show in one day. It was great. I can't recommend it enough. It's whenever I hear Korean television, I think of really over the top soap operas or really slow period pieces. This one was a lot of action scenes and all pretty badass and really great acting. So I can't recommend it enough. It's fucking great. It's called My Name.
My Name. Okay. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah. It's 8 episodes.
Cool. Nice.
Yeah. And that was really what I dove into. I tried watching others, but I haven't found anything that came up to it, you know.
That's cool.
So if you have any recommendations, listeners, for Korean thriller series, send them my way.
I mean, they make good revenge movies, that's for sure. But I've never seen any of their crime series. I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to think. Of course, I saw Squid Game, but which I guess was crime-ish.
Yeah. That one does not appeal to me.
Yeah, it didn't appeal to me, and we watched it. But my wife, then I was like, oh yeah, I guess it sounds kind of interesting. So we watched it. It was good. It was, it wasn't.
Oh, okay.
It was entertaining. It wasn't bad. The guy that plays the dickhead Jedi in the Acolyte, the one who basically fucks everything up. He's the guy from Squid Game. He's the main character.
Oh, the Jedi guy in the Acolyte.
The Asian Jedi guy.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I thought you were talking about the other one, the one from The Good Place.
Oh, no. This the douchebag guy. No. I am talking about the Jedi, not the dark side guy.
Yeah. I thought you were talking about the dark side guy. I like that guy.
I forget where that guy's was from. I've seen him in something too. Dulcie knew.
The Good Place.
Oh, The Good Place. Jizzercism.
He's the. Yeah, he's the guy that really likes Jacksonville and the Jacksonville Jaguars, and he's a Blake Bortles fan in The Good Place.
Oh my God, Blake Bortles! Wow.
Yeah. Oh, happy football season, listeners.
Yeah. Well, I don't care about football anymore, but yeah. I go back and forth. I grew up watching it because my dad was a jock. And then I got burned out. And then I went through this weird phase where I was like Johnny Football. Like I knew everything. I followed the draft. It was just like, I was just like, what am I doing with my life? I'm too busy playing strategy games on my phone. I don't have time for football.
Yeah, I've got ages of empires to deal with down here.
I'm working on 3 right now. I don't have time.
Dude, I am that exact same way. I'm like over here. I tried to get in, like my brain tried to make me be into true crime for a second, and I was like, I do not have time for another hobby like that. I can't do it. I did find out about the owl theory, but then I was like, all right, I'm out of here. Can't do it.
The owl theory that's one of my favorite ridiculous ideas in true crime.
It's so good. I watched that whole show, that whole like decade-long TV show about his court case and all of that, and then because people had been telling me about that show and about the owl theory, they don't even fucking talk about the owl theory in the show. I was so mad, and that dude obviously killed her. But anyway, I don't have time for true crime as a hobby.
But what you do have time for
is horror movies.
Oh, snap. I don't know.
In fact, we're going to do another horror movie in 2 weeks. We're going to talk about it with the same level of sophistication and intelligence that you just experienced us bringing to Sean King O'Grady's We Need to Do Something. But this time, we're going to be bringing it to someone else. Is he Irish? I don't know. You tell me. His name is Osgood Perkins, and he directed a movie called Long Legs.
Hey-o. Is it a horror film?
It's Long Legs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was a crime thing.
Well,
we'll get into it.
It is a crime thing.
We'll get into it.
It's got the stuff. Don't you worry. Don't you worry, little Johnny John.
I've been meaning to watch it, so yeah.
It's got the Osgoods.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
It's got the Osgoods. Oh my God.
Would you say Silence of the Lambs is a horror movie?
No.
Oh, well then.
In fact,
we might be in trouble.
I kind of hate Silence of the Lambs.
Well, yeah, it's tiring.
Yeah, it's not I just don't like it. I don't think it's a very good movie. I do like Buffalo Bill. He's awesome.
Yeah.
And so whenever he's on screen, I'm like, but Anthony Hopkins, I just can't deal with him in that movie. And, Jodie Foster's fine. But I do like Nicolas Cage a lot. And I like Osgood Perkins' dad. I don't know.
Osgood Cobblepot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, this is more of a horror movie than Silence of the Lambs. It has you got your supernatural elements in there.
Oh, that's true.
So,
there's like some sort of weird occult business, I think, right? They
yeah,
and
you've got a little bit of gore, so it brings it around.
Plus, it's caged up.
It's caged up. Satan is mentioned, so you've got that. Usually a good sign that it's horror.
Is it kind of a hybrid, like a horror crime hybrid kind of thing?
Oh yeah, I mean it's definitely got the crime thing in there, but I would go out on a wee little limb and call it a horror.
I'm looking forward to it. I've been looking forward to that movie for a while. I've remained interested in it despite the hype. Because it's Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
It's like, he's universal, cinephiles like him and morons like him, and he just appeals to everybody. He's the best.
Yeah. And I think this is going to be our first Nicolas Cage movie, right?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
I can't remember another one that we've done. I would have thought that we would do Mandy. I would have thought we would do The Call of Cthulhu and other pink Nicolas Cage movies. But
would have thought we would have done Call of Cthulhu. You mean the color?
The color out of Cthulhu?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have thought we would have done only his version of Wicker Man by now, but
Ooh, we could do a back-to-back. We could do the original and then the Nicolas Cage and do a compare and contrast. That would be fun.
I'd be down for that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I fucking love it. I love
love it. Don't go in with super high expectations. Don't listen to the hype. It's not like the end-all and be-all. It's just a fun, enjoyable flick, and it's also kind of got the Nicolas Cage more recent thing where it's not like Nicolas Cage is the star of the movie.
Right.
Someone else is the star of the movie, and he shows up in a few spots and, kind of steals the show. But it's not starring Nicolas Cage, it's supported by Nicolas Cage.
That's right, it's starring Micah Monroe, who I like a lot. I'm like a huge Micah Monroe fan.
Oh, and she is great in this movie.
She's a really good actress. I'm a big fan of hers. I mean, she was in It Follows, and that movie is fucking great.
Ooh, I think there's a sequel to that, which, okay.
It's coming.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess she'll be in it, I guess, right? She survived, didn't she?
I think so, yeah. And then the sequel to that movie, I'm Coming.
Oh, shit. And then there's the Japanese remake, It Follows.
But now say it like you're Max Booth.
I can't. Don't make me do it. What the fuck? We're the worst people on earth.
Worst people. No one should listen to this. Go out there. Don't make jokes like these. Be good people. John, do you have any final wishes for our fans?
God. Oh, I wish you all the best. And I can't. I'm not going to do it. I'm sorry you all have to die.